I have so much fun following rabbit holes or whatever it is that is one thing leads to another, and then it's like, it's fun, isn't it? It's like, wow, I didn't know that. We'll get to this maybe, because I'm going to apologize again, because I had so much fun. I may talk more than usual. But Empress Wu, who was the first woman ever to rule as emperor in China, born in 1624 CE, was taught by Faizong, who was one of the founders of this school, Huayan. I'm a little ahead of myself, but what I want to tell you is that when she did the retranslation of the Avatamsaka Sutra, she was so moved by it that she wrote that verse that we just said.
Oh.
That's where that verse comes from.
Wow.
I mean, it's a little different in terms of, it was translated by D.T. Suzuki, an unsurpassed, penetrating, and perfect Dharma, which for years I would never say, because it sounds like it's the best, and I was sort of embarrassed by it. But then at a certain point you get over being embarrassed and you just do it anyway. But I never knew where it came from. I think that's so cool. Okay.
What is her name again?
Empress Wu.
Wow.
Wow. See, now you can all go. We just found out the most important thing. No. Okay. So I brought it. I brought it last Thursday. I brought it today. This is the Avatamsaka Sutra. I was hiding it because I didn't want you to see how big it is. But now you know. And we're going to do one chapter. We're going to do chapter 26. But last Thursday, today, and this coming Thursday, when the Shuso will give a talk on the entire sutra. Don't worry, everything's fine. She's really looking forward to it. You can't just dive into chapter 26 and not give a context of the whole sutra. So I gave a lot of information last Thursday, which is on the website, and I think maybe we'll send it out too. And I'm going to do the same thing today. And then Rachel, and then starting next week, we'll start with the 10 grounds, the 10 Bodhisattva grounds. And we will, because Rachel and I are really committed to this sutra is said to be what Buddha's experience of it when he woke up under the Bodhi tree. This is what, it's an attempt to describe what his experience was, what our experience is. And he just said, I can't, this is too much. People are never going to believe me. How am I going to say it? And anyway, the story is they finally, the gods and everybody said, Buddha, come on, give it a break. And Buddha condensed it into the Four Noble Truths and the teachings that we know through the Theravadan tradition. And then, but these early Mahayana sutras, I'm never going to get to where I was going, but I was, but that's sort of the Avatamsaka Sutra. I was thinking while I was sitting here, is one of my, you sort of, when you follow breadcrumbs, every now and then you come across something that sort of changes everything or gives you some understanding that then something opens. And years ago, I was reading Taigen Dan Leighton, who's one of the people I respect, a scholar. And it's an essay called Self-Power and Other Power. And what he says is that until Westerners really begin to have a deeper understanding of other power, we're not going to get it, whatever it is, because we're all into self-power. I mean, we're Westerners. We're into self-improvement, and I mean, that's sort of what, and that's how we entered the Dharma, to get over our own suffering, to spiff ourselves up, and that's all wonderful. But there's something else here, and the Avatamsaka Sutra is the whole world. Everything is here. And we are everything, and it is all here waking waking ourselves and everybody up. And so, actually, Taigen Dan Layton then says, I'm going to repeat myself some from Thursday, but it's okay because I repeat myself to myself all the time because I forget things. It's not a book to read to gain intellectual comprehension. Rather, it's the cumulative impact of its profuse imagery, and that it inspires concentrated meditative awareness. It sort of blows out the circuits of your brain is what happens. I mean, if you give yourself to it, you really just enter it, and it enters you. He says it can best be appreciated by bathing in the imagery, as if listening to a symphony rather than trying to decipher a textbook. And it's why traditionally people get together in little groups or by yourself. And I mean, I know people who have spent years you could just go through the sutra just chanting it. It's a practice. So we're not going to let you skip the immersion of having to go beyond your mind that is probably going to say, what in the world is this? But then you just keep entering and entering. But we also really want to ground it, because the sutra also, maybe I'm going to skip around a little bit. Taigen also says in chapter 11, attending to the conventional realities of our world with some sense of the omnipresence of the totality helps to balance our practice and can also further inform our deeper sense of wholeness. Things look pretty bad right now, but it's also an amazing fall day. And if you just slide off the end of your exhale, there's this whole amazing, expansive isness of everything. And there's it's through the senses. It enters through the senses. That's how we know it, through the body, and it penetrates the heart. And don't slide off into emptiness. It's like, that's why we're doing the 10 grounds of the Bodhisattva. Bodhisattvas are committed to being right here because human beings mostly don't know this, and we suffer and we hurt each other and we do all the things that we do. So we need to be able to pendulate a swinging gait. So in chapter 11, there's 140 distinct verses to encourage mindfulness in particular circumstances. So one might conjecture that this, because Thich Nhat Hanh was studying and practicing with chanting the Avatamsaka Sutra when he was 16 years old, that this might have something to do with why and how he brought forward gathas. Awakening from sleep, before, during, and after eating, seeing a large tree, flowing water, flowers blooming, a lake or a bridge, entering a house, receiving or giving or receiving a gift, meeting teachers or other kinds of people, walking on roads. So we're going to chant at the end today, chapter 9. It's a shorter one. It's only 12 pages long. It'll only take several hours. You didn't want to go home tonight, right? No, but I edited it. But I think it'll be long enough that you'll have to sort of give up something to be able to stay with it. And hopefully, it's going to help us be more awake and alive and present in this very world as it is. And then there's the question of, so what is this very world as it is? Okay, so having said that, let's see what else I found. So the Avatamsaka Sutra has 4 categories. 1, 2, 3, 4. The first is the nature of the world as seen by the Buddhas. It's like, this is what Buddha saw. This is what Buddhas see. This is the way they apprehend the world. 2, the nature of Buddhas and their powers. So if Buddhas see the world this way, who is a Buddha? What is a Buddha? And how do they, I mean, what is a power that's not worldly power? What are the gifts of a bodhisattva? 3, qualities of the bodhisattva and their quest. And 4, what is learned and what happens in practice and during awakening. So the nature of the world is seen by Buddhas, in case you wanted to know. Did you want to know? Okay, you have to say yes. A Buddha view lacks individual objects with their own intrinsic nature separate from other objects, which is, of course, the way we see everything. We see, I see Malcolm because he's over there, and Debbie, and the tree out there, and even myself, because I'm outside of myself, observing myself doing. I mean, that's how we just subject object. That's how human. That's seeing through with dualities. It's seeing with two eyes. That's not a problem. It's just know it. Let it inform. Because in Buddha eyes, everything is in constant flux and flow. And individual phenomena perfectly and infinitely interpenetrate and are contained in each other. And yet, even while it's interflowing, everything interpenetrating, nothing is confused in that I'm not going to say Debbie's not Susan, because there is particular. Don't miss it. A description that we know or have investigated in the past is Indra's net is a description of this. Indra's net is from the first patriarch, the first ancestor of Huayan, the Huayan school. That's what Avatamsaka is. Tushan from 557 to 640, so really early on. Here's the description. In the realm of the god Indra, so Indra's the big guy, the big god, is a vast net that stretches infinitely in all directions. In each eye of the net is a single, brilliant, perfect jewel, and each jewel also reflects every other jewel, infinite in number, and each of the reflected images of all the other jewels, infinite to infinity. Whatever affects one jewel affects them all. It's shimmering. And the way Buddhas, we, wake up to this reality is through meditation. Is through deep, it doesn't have to be Buddhist meditation, it's through deep, concentrated meditation. That's how you know. I suppose we could also say deep prayer is how, I mean, whatever your language is. The nature of the Buddhas and their powers. Everything is empty of any inherent self-existence. The Heart Sutra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. I never liked this. I learned most everything I know by fighting it. I go in backwards, and then I arrive, and anyway, it's just my way. I remember Norman Fisher saying, "What bodhisattvas know is emptiness." And I remember feeling like, don't give me that stuff. It was like bodhisattva, because to me that felt like, if bodhisattvas know emptiness, they're not going to be in this world. Somehow it's about getting out of this world, and that's not what it is at all. The more you know the interpenetration and aliveness of everything, the more you want to be here, because compassion and love ignite, and that's where bodhisattvas come from. They always want to act in the best interests of sentient beings. So now I don't fight that so much anymore. Except for when I do. Okay, it's just my nature. Just know who you are, you know? You all do it in your own way. 3, the qualities of bodhisattvas and their quest. There's two chapters in the Avatamsaka Sutra, chapter 21 and 25, which we won't do. Maybe we'll, anyway, who knows what we'll do. But they really did, they delineate and say the 10 practices and the 10 dedications of a bodhisattva. So it's pretty specific, actually. And then, number 4, what is learned and what happens in and during awakening is chapter 26, which is what we're going to study. And the final chapter, which is the climax of the last, it's the last chapter. I thought maybe I would just describe it a little bit, because the sutra is it's so out there. I mean, it really is. So here's the description of the final chapter. Sudana is a spiritual pilgrim, and he meets 53 wise advisors or bodhisattvas who deepen his understanding. Now, these advisors include a prostitute, a slave, a child, Buddha's wife, his mother, several goddesses, lots of different teachers from all different places. I mean, they're not just, what you might think is it's just going to meet the high ones. This is meets right here on this earth. And then, in the end, he enters the tower of Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya is the Buddha of the future. And Maitreya is, I don't know if it says it in this sutra, but Maitreya is the bodhisattva of friendliness. That's the Buddha of the future. That's our job here, folks, to wake up to friendliness. The message is that with a subtle shift of perspective, we may come to see that the enlightenment the pilgrim Sudana so fervently sought was not only within all along at every stage of the journey, but it's always been here. We are waking up to who we already are and who and what the world already is. And we all have to go on a journey, right? You get born. Causes and conditions, every person just gets exactly, I mean, I don't know, but we all get the karma that we get, which isn't good, bad, or otherwise. It's just we wake up on the journey of becoming a true human being. Okay. You want to hear more about Empress Wu?
Yes.
That was, got your attention on that one, huh? Okay. So, 2 important figures in Huayan, the school, is Faizong, the third of the 5 ancestors, and Empress Wu. Faizong once taught Empress Wu. This is a really famous image. He placed a Buddha. So she went to him because she wanted to wake up and understand it. He was deeply respected in that time. So he placed a Buddha image in the center with a large lamp next to it. And standing in this room, the Empress could see that the reflection in any one mirror clearly reflected the reflections from all of the other mirrors. So there's mirrors all around. Can you, use your imagination. Just enter this, including the specific reflection of the Buddha image in each one. Can you imagine being in the center of a room like this, with everything reflecting everything else? Which fully demonstrated the unobstructed interpenetration of the particular and the totality, with each one contained in all and with all contained in each one, and showed the non-obstructed interpenetration of each particular mirror with each of the others. It's like it just infinite, goes on and on and on. I'll tell you my own particular I have no idea if this really happened. Do you sometimes have the feeling with childhood memories, did that really happen? Did I make that up? Was that a dream? But well, it's perfect for this time of year. I remember going into a haunted house. I was really sensitive to that kind of stuff, and I mostly, who knows who got me in there or why. But I remember being taken into a house of mirrors, but all I could see was myself everywhere. And it was the most horrifying thing. I still remember that there was no, and I couldn't figure out where the door was or how to get out. I couldn't figure out how I'd gotten in or how to get out. So it's sort of the flip side of what he demonstrated, and what helped her wake up. But for me, it was a similar kind of awakening. I was horrified. I was scared. I was just scared. I just didn't know where it began or ended, or too many me's. Yeah. Anyway.
Literally how Zazen feels to me every single time.
That's exactly how. That's how Zazen feels every single time. It's like whoa, 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 and then there's moments where all of a sudden it just opens, and then so that's what this wakes us up to. Okay, so. Thich Nhat Hanh's commentary, which we're also sending out, is, let me read you a little bit. The Avatamsaka land is a product of our mind. Everything is a product of our mind. The cosmos is a mental construction. Everything comes from our mind. If our mind is filled with afflictions and delusions, we live in a world of afflictions and delusions. That's what we meet in Zazen. It's like, ooh, blah, 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 blah. Well, I like it, I don't like it, oh, no. I mean, we all know what that's like. I mean, and then you feel the pain, you feel the grief, you feel the suffering of the world, you feel your own. But if our mind, that's why I said small mind and big mind, that's small mind. And that's who we believe we are. But Zazen meditation really does give us a physical, embodied sense of big mind, of consciousness that is, again, another story. I say these things just to normalize, hopefully, or to help. I remember after practicing for years, suddenly the thought arose for me that there was consciousness that was beyond me consciousness. I remember it was like struck me like, but also the feeling of, I can't believe I never noticed that before, that there was anything beyond me on a visceral conscious level. Do you have a sense of what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And that's what meditation, Zazen, especially like longer retreats, but it can happen in any moment, where you're completely, it's still you, it's completely you, but you also know it's not what you think. And there's big mind. That was the way Suzuki Roshi described it. And then when you know that, more and more, it's accessible in a way that instead of, not all the time, but instead of the same old self-centered behaviors, karmic conditioned behaviors, you surprise yourself and do something kind and compassionate, or something different happens through you and then more and more it's like you don't know what happened. It's the same, but it's different. It depends on the way we see. Forms and elements inter-are. One cannot be without the other. Mind never stops manifesting all forms, countless, inconceivable, many unknown to one another. The mind, small mind, just does what it does. It's like the heart beating, the mind secretes thoughts. This is not a problem. If you fight it, you're just going around the same old squirrel cage. It's just like, hi friend, I know that thought. Oh my goodness, how many times have but there's also, it's you sit the small self down on the lap of the Buddha, and then there's another awareness that sees it, and it comes and it goes, but it's not really coming and going, and there's just more space and openness. The nature of things, dharmas, is that they are born from our own mind. The world as it presents itself to us is a mental construction. So what's the world that we are believing? What's the world we're acting from? And the world, because it wants us to wake up and because its nature is, I think, love and compassion, will just keep giving us feedback. I mean, it's so humbling. You know, you're just bumbling. I mean, I'm talking about me, but you're just bumbling along and you think you're doing fine, and then something happens and it's like, whoa. That was like cause and effect, and I know that effect. And cause and effect is if this happens, then that happens. If this doesn't happen, then that doesn't happen. So the choice we make, which is to study the precepts and all of that, but it's also the more we cultivate this place, this mind, the more, again, something different arises. Is this making sense? You have some sense of, I mean, yeah, good. I mean, I knew you did, but I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so I just want to, because in my rabbit holes, I think maybe we'll study this sometime next year. I buy books, and then they sit on the bookshelf for years. Like the 10 Grounds of the Bodhisattva, I bought that book like 6 years ago, and it's been sitting there waiting for just the right moment. So this one, Thich Nhat Hanh, Understanding Our Mind, it used to be called Transformations at the Base, it's actually, he wrote it, but it's, you know, I'm not going to tell you the whole history. But it really is an exploration of the Avatamsaka Sutra in part, and the Nagarjuna, and I thought I would, I won't read you all, there's 50 verses. You want to hear all 50? No. Part 5, the nature of reality. I'm just going to read a couple of the verses. 31, consciousness always includes subject and object. Self and other, inside and outside, are all creations of the conceptual mind. Isn't that, I think that's what I was trying to say. In individual and collective manifestations, self and non-self are not two. The cycle of birth and death is achieved in every moment. Consciousness evolves in the ocean of birth and death. We wake up in the ocean of birth and death. We wake up in a human body. That's where else are you going to wake up? You wake up in a particular human body. I'll just read you a couple of part 6, the path of practice. Verse 41. Meditating on the nature of interdependence can transform delusion into enlightenment. Samsara and suchness are not two, they are one and the same. The particular and the absolute are not two. But it's also helpful because I think it was Norman Fisher who is that Buddhas can see simultaneously, but because we see through duality, the mind more pendulates. We see duality and we see oneness, and they just sort of shimmer. And sometimes you have more of an insight or an awareness of oneness, and sometimes you have more of an awareness of duality. But they're actually not two. They're simultaneously flashing all the time. This is an act of faith. Even while blooming, the flower is already in the compost, and the compost is already in the flower. Flower and compost are not two. Delusion and enlightenment are. We recognize internal knots and latent tendencies so we can transform them. When our habit energies dissipate, transformation at the base is there. Transformation takes place in our daily life. To make the work of transformation easy, practice with a Sangha. Oh, good work.
Check.
Check, yeah, good. Nothing is born, nothing dies, nothing to hold on to, nothing to release. Samsara is nirvana, there is nothing to attain. When we realize that afflictions are no other than enlightenment, we can ride the waves of birth and death in peace, traveling in the boat of compassion on the ocean of delusion, smiling the smile of non-fear. Cool little book, huh?
Can you say that one?
Read that one again? Oh, good. Sure, I can. It's number 50. When we realize that afflictions are no other than enlightenment, we can ride the waves of birth and death in peace, traveling in the boat of compassion on the ocean of delusion, smiling the smile of non-fear.
Smiling the smile of
Non-fear.
non-fear.
Non-fear. Fearlessness.
Fearlessness.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
always,
wow.
it's like, for me, it's always like, when they talk about fearlessness, what are you talking about? So maybe put it,
It's like being in the room of mirrors and not being afraid.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Well, that's, again, Zazen. It's like these things bring us to practice. And the shadow is always the light, and the light is the shadow. I mean, they're something like that. Maybe Jung said something like that.
I was thinking maybe if the Buddha had been with you in that place,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have been so afraid.
Yeah. Well, the Buddha was with me because I got afraid and the Buddha brought me here. I mean, we all have moments. Probably our deepest fears are what brought us here, right? I mean, some acute suffering or something, usually, or if not that, then some delusion. It's like, what's going on here? This doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, that brought me here too. It's like, huh? I just never believed anything anybody told me. But that was a source of great suffering when you're little. You don't trust anybody. It didn't seem like the real deal to me. So here we are. So having said all that, can we chant Chapter 9, Awakening by Light? This is what this is saying, but it's not going to make any sense, so just give yourself to it, okay? You want to turn up the lights over there? One of you turn up the lights over there. And it's going to be on screen too, so if you want to go up to the screen. Well, don't turn the lights on. Somebody to share with? Oh, okay. Anybody want to call somebody to share with? I thought it would be kind of cozy to share the written ones, but you can also gather around the screen. Whoops.
I need one, but I need somebody to share with.
Do you want to come and sit next to me and I'll move this one?
All right.
Can you guys see can they see the whole screen? Okay, so again, don't try to do this with your intellect. Just enter the ocean of the chanting. Okay? Okay. Then the Buddha, from beneath the wheel markers on his feet, emitted 100 billion light beams, illuminating this billion-world universe with its 400 billion continents, 100 billion oceans, 100 billion surrounding mountain ranges, 100 billion enlightening beings being born, 100 billion enlightening beings leaving home. 100 billion Buddhas realizing true enlightenment. 100 billion Buddhas teaching. 100 billion Buddhas passing away. 100 billion polar mountain kings. 100 billion heavens of hosts of celestial kings. 100 billion heavens of 33 celestial beings. 100 billion heavens of timely portion. 100 billion heavens of satisfaction. 100 billion heavens of enjoyment and emanations. 100 billion heavens of free enjoyment of others' emanations. 100 billion heavens of pure hosts. 100 billion light sound heavens. 100 billion heavens of purity. 100 billion heavens of vast rewards. 100 billion heavens of the ultimate of form. Everything therein was all clearly manifest. As in this place the Buddha, the world-honored one, was seen sitting on a lotus-banked lion throne, surrounded by as many enlightening beings as atoms in 10 Buddha lands. So also sat the 100 billion Buddhas in 100 billion continents. In each case, because of the spiritual force of the Buddhas, in each of the 10 directions was a great enlightening being, each with a company of as many enlightening beings as atoms in 10 Buddha lands who came to the Buddha. Their names were Shri, Chief of the Awakened, Chief in Riches of Truth, Chief of the Precious, Chief of the Virtuous, Chief in Vision, Chief in Effort, Chief in Doctrine, Chief in Knowledge, and Chief in Goodness. The lands from whence these enlightening beings came were respectively called Golden World, Sublime Color World, Lotus Color World, Saffron Flower Color World, Blue Lotus Color World, Gold Color World, Jewel Color World, Diamond Color World, Crystal Color World, and Equal Color World. These enlightening beings had each cultivated pure practice in the company of Buddhas, the Buddha of immutable knowledge, the Buddha of unhindered knowledge, the Buddha of knowledge of liberation, the Buddha of knowledge of dignified conduct, the Buddha of knowledge of characteristics, the Buddha of ultimate knowledge, the Buddha of supreme knowledge, the Buddha of independent knowledge, the Buddha of pure knowledge, and Buddha of observing knowledge. Then the Manjushris in all places, in the presence of each of the Buddhas, spoke up simultaneously and said in verse, "If any see the truly awake as becoming liberated and divorced from taints, and not attached to any world, they have not realized the eye of the way. If any know the Buddha's substance and form have no existence, and by cultivation gain clear understanding, such people will soon be Buddhas, who can see this world unstirred in mind, and likewise Buddha's body will attain supreme knowledge. If regarding the Buddha and the truth, one understands that they are equal, having no thought of duality, one will walk on the inconceivable plane. If one sees the Buddha and oneself resting in equality, without abode, entering nowhere, one will become one of the rare. Form and feeling have no sex, nor do conception, action, consciousness. Any who can know this way will become great sages. In one understanding infinity, within infinity one, realizing their origins into independence, one will attain to fearlessness. Let's skip down here to let's go down to, oh, you guys are really into it. Let's go down to the verse that says developing great compassion. Okay? Developing great compassion to save and protect all sentient beings, forever leaving human and celestial realms. This is what work should be done, always with faith in the Buddha, the mind never regressing, associating with the enlightened ones. This is what work should be done. A mind seeing beings as equal, not creating discrimination, entering the realm of real truth. This is what work should be done. Lifting up boundless worlds, drinking up all the oceans. This power of knowledge of psychic attainment is the kind of work that should be done. Contemplating the various lands, their material and immaterial aspects, able to know them all. This is what work should be done. The atoms of all lands everywhere are each and every one a Buddha. To be able to know their number, this is what work should be done. Okay, I'm going to have us skip down and go to let's go to the last two verses down at the very bottom. Sentient beings.
On the last page?
Yeah, last page. Okay, sentient beings are variously different according to their actions. In the 10 directions, inside and out, it's hard to see them all. The Buddha's body, unhindered, pervading all directions, and cannot be completely seen in just the same way. Like unto the infinite worlds of space, without coming or going, pervading the 10 directions, becoming and disintegrating, having no resting place. So does Buddha pervade space in the same way. Well, we got a taste. Let's just one word or phrase of what's the experience of entering and chanting?
Spaciousness.
Spaciousness. Patricia.
I don't feel alone anymore.
I don't feel alone anymore.
Equanimity.
Equanimity. Surrendered. Ocean.
Billions of unseen helpers.
Billions of unseen helpers. Yeah. Kathy Barr.
I just was thinking, oh.
Oh! Oh! There's a feeling of Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree going, oh! Oh!
I have to Kathy's to say what was coming from me was wow.
Wow! Billions and billions is like, wow! It's like a little kid, wow! How about just a couple more?
Oneness.
Oneness. Togetherness. Anybody else on screen? Just shout it out.
Enter R.
Inter R. There you go. You can see how Thich Nhat Hanh probably and Suzuki Roshi came up with words that aren't words, because once you enter this realm, you're no longer in linear speech. So new words arise. Shuso, you want to last? We'll warm you up for Thursday.
I'll second wow.
Okay, so
I'm so interested in what my talk will be on Thursday.
me too. That's how I enter every single talk, and then it's always like wow, because it's not what you thought it was going to be. Because the Buddha won't let you give that kind of. I mean, it's just like wow, wow.
You've got billions of choices.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for, maybe I don't need to say anything, but this is, it helps me understand Dogen, who's completely incomprehensible, and who I have often gotten mad at, because he just, I mean, this is the founder of this lineage who won't say anything that makes any sense at all, and it's like, what's the matter with you? I spent years just saying, will you please just say what you mean? I mean, I grew up in Ohio, for goodness sakes. It's very frustrating. But where it started to make sense to me was I was reading it once sitting by a mountain lake, and suddenly this is what appeared.
You were reading what?
I was reading Dogen, or it could have been the Avatamsaka Sutra, sitting way up in the mountains by a mountain lake, and suddenly it made sense. It made no sense, but it made sense in a way that my mind didn't know. Yeah, Anne.
Just real quickly, to put wow in context, I was just reminded that Anne Lamont says there's basically 3 prayers.
Yes.
I'm sorry, thank you, wow.
Yeah, I know. She's got it. No, I know. I love that. Yep.
She used to also say help.
And she used to. That's right. That was the other part of it, is help. Yeah. So maybe we're gonna stop. But maybe in the midst of this world of pain and suffering, I mean, I don't know about you. I often find myself these days receiving a bit of news and going, wow. It's like, because it's just mind-blowingly off of any chart. But if we can kind of hold it, because the only way we're going to find our way home, I think, is in the bigger wow of bowing and anyway.
Well, 7 million people are with you.
Wow, and millions and billions.
Yeah, millions and millions.
We
So
are bowing and wowing.
we are bowing. That's where that's where you decide to do vows, because there's nothing else to do except because you're already in a wow and a vow and a wow, or but you already bow wow. Okay, let's say the Bodhisattva vows. Beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. I vow to become it. So I will close by saying, one, thank you for being here in the midst of this craziness. And you entered by, I think you said, essentially your religion was kindness, and that's actually what this is. That's just 100 billion ways to say kindness. Because if it's not making us kinder, then what are we doing? And I'm really looking forward to your talk on Thursday.
So is she.
And if you can, tune in, be here